Hello everyone, howdy ho, welcome back to the channel. I can reinvent my intro now, but today we have a requested vinyl review. I knew that starting my TikTok, link in the bio, to advertise this channel would work. Someone has actually asked me to do a video on an album I own, and that album is Tina Turner's Private Dancer. Now, this is a hand-me-down from it's from my parents, I know that much, and I'm assuming it's from my mum, because my dad doesn't like this kind of music, but my mum does, so it's like, I'm almost certain it's from my mum. Now I own an Icon Tina Turner record somewhere down there, and I was going to get it out, but I didn't really want to speak about Ike Turner much in this video, because this album was like a reinvention for Tina Turner. It was a way of letting go of the past, getting rid of the past and reinventing yourself in a new image. And I feel like in that same vein it would be wrong of me to speak about Ike Turner, but if you might really want to know, then you can Google it and you can read up on what an awful person he was. She literally, I was reading up as I was listening to this album, because I always listen to them before I review them, and reading up on her story, the fact that she had to escape to a hotel room with like 30 pence in her pocket, or 30 cents if you're American, and had to go from there, it's crazy, really. She had released 2 albums in the 70s, around 75 I think, and basically they didn't do very well at all, because people seen her as part of Icon Tina Turner, and they seen her as just an oldies act, someone past their prime, and her music career basically just hit the floor, it plummeted, it is unfortunate, and then also not unfortunate. Obviously you don't wish bad times on someone, but when I tell you how good this album did, it was sort of like a blessing in disguise, really. But then, she worked on her craft, she kept at it, and in 1983, she released Private Dancer. This album went multi-platinum in multiple countries. The UK is one, the US is another, I believe, and I think Australia is one. I can't remember the others, but it went multi-platinum and it won her 4 Grammys. And it worked. It completely reinvented her image, and what an album it is. This album is fantastic, and I admit, completely cards on the table, I don't listen to it often enough I should say. Someone asked me if I had this album and if I would make a video on it, which I've done, or am doing now, and then I put this on and I realised, holy shit, this is brilliant. But anyway, we'll talk about the songs in... No, we won't. What am I on about? We'll talk about the looks in... So, obviously, the looks of this album are a big part of reinventing your image. And you could not dress like that on an album cover in the 60s. The pressing plants would not have made this album in the 60s with her dressed like that. Now, she's obviously absolutely stunning, she was a queen, and the first song is I Might Have Been Queen, because her, Whitney Houston and Donna Summer and a lot of these big, black singers, big female black singers, had some of the most powerful voices I've ever heard, and she is just one of those people who, we'll get into her voice when I talk about the songs, but she has one of the best voices ever, but anyway, the looks, as I was saying, reinvented her image, can't dress like that in the 60s, so it definitely would have probably shocked a lot of people who knew Tina Turner as, her in the 60s or the 70s, and again, with the back, but she's just a queen, she's strutting her stuff. I love it. I'm all for loving yourself and feeling empowered. And I love the black cat. Everyone should love a black cat. And then a nice lyric sheet. And this one is on Capitol Records. I like the Capitol Records logo because it's a rainbow. And I like watching the rainbow go around. Back when this is a complete tangent, but I had a Yes album that was Capitol Records. I swear it was Capitol Records. It had the rainbow runs, the label. And then it was also yellow, red and blue. I used it for my intro way back in the day, but my first record player did a 75 RPM mode, so I'd stick that album on and put it on 75 just to watch the colours spin round as fast as they could, because I'm a child. Anyway, let's talk about the songs. So, her husband had a big hit in the 50s with Rocket 88, and then he was sort of seen as one of the pioneers of rock and roll, and he was sort of the name and the face behind, you know, the Turner name and the band back then. Luckily now, I mean, I know loads about Tina Turner based off just what you learn online being a music nerd, or you hear from your parents. But Ike Turner, like, I mean, it wasn't until recently, you know, obviously, unfortunately, she passed away last year. God bless her, you know, massive R.I.P. And when she passed away, that led me to look her up a bit more, and that's when I found out about Ike Turner. Now, again, I'm not supposed to, I said I wouldn't speak about him, so I won't. But he is important to this album, because this album is a story of abuse and survival, and it is brilliant. I love the starting song, I Might Have Been Queen. It's such a great way, in the vein of reinventing yourself, to have a song called I Might Have Been Queen, and to just kick some fucking ass, you know? That's the general vibe this album gives off, is that she's here, she's going to kick some ass, so get used to it. And then probably the biggest hit from this album, I know that Private Dancer was a massive hit as well, but what's love got to do then? What's love? Sorry, that's my rendition, but that is such a catchy tune, and her powerful voice, like I said in the looks section, blends really well to songs like that, where she can really hit those high notes, and oh, it's fantastic. It's so catchy, and it gets you moving, gets you dancing. As well as the songs Show Some Respect, I Can't Stand the Rain, Better Be Good to Me. But the two songs that stood out the most, obviously, are Steel Claw and Private Dancer. Now, I like the other ones, 1984, Let's Stay Together, but Steel Claw is fantastic. You know, this album has, probably one of the reasons it did so well is because it's not just pop music. It's pop, it's 80s synth, it's R&B, it's rock and roll, and all these sounds have been laced throughout this album fantastically. Been laced throughout the album brilliantly. The album sort of slides from one genre to another as smooth as a snake, you know. And when it gets to Steel Claw, which is a song by Tina Turner that I'd never heard before, well, maybe I'd heard before, not in a while, and I was like, damn, this is good. And then about midway through the track, there's a fucking fantastic guitar passage, which I come to learn was done by Jeff Beck, who is a legend in himself, you know. And that song, Steel Claw by Tina Turner, kicks some fucking ass. It is brilliant, and I had to turn it up. It was so good, and I kind of want to listen to it again. And then of course Private Dancer, which was written by, I have made notes because I knew I wasn't going to remember his name, Mike, I'm not going to pronounce this, Mike Knopfler from Dire Straits wrote that song, and he and his band are playing the instrumental. And it's funny, now I know that, now that I've seen that, and I know it, I can sort of hear it, because Dire Straits had that, you know, they had that special sound to them. but I didn't know that. I suppose maybe not, because I didn't know that beforehand. You know, and Private Dancer is luscious, it's groovy, the bass is fantastic. The bass across this whole album is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, but Private Dancer is such a groovy tune, and I can imagine people, you know, doing a good slow dance to it in the 80s. But in conclusion, this album kicks some fucking ass, as I've said like 3 times. But if you like this kind of music, then it's an album you want to pick up. And what a way to reinvent yourself, you know. It's fantastic what she did. And then she kept going with some really great hit songs. Probably her best one is The Best. You're simply the best. You're better than all the rest. And then songs like Proud Mary's another one. She's an icon, and she's dearly missed in the music world. So Tina Turner's Private Dancer, 7 out of 10 for me. Absolute classic, and I would recommend you giving it a listen. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon. Hope you liked the video. Bye bye.